Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Entrepreneur Factory podcast. Today's a Monday version, which means that you're stuck with Boyd and I. We're gonna
Thanks.
We're gonna be rehashing a couple of things we've spoken about recently, primarily at the Side Hustle conference, and there's some really golden nuggets of information that we want to converse about. So, Boyd, tell us what you got.
So, yes, a few days ago we had the Side Hustle conference, and one of the things that Jim and I did was we talked about marketing your side hustle. But, a lot of the things that we were talking about, we got thinking, these are good things for everybody to think about. Whether you're doing it on a shoestring budget or you're doing something big. So you need to do a few things. And the first thing that we were talking about yesterday was, how do you come up with the goals that you want to do? What is it you were hoping to accomplish with your marketing? A lot of people go into marketing without thinking about that. They just simply say, "Oh, let's run a bunch of ads. That'll get us something." Well, you got to have a plan before. And so today we're going to talk a lot about a plan of action. What is it you want to accomplish? And sometimes, like I've worked with people, they want to keep their customers engaged. Others want to attract more prospects. Some want to do both of those things, and that's okay. But there are several other things that you might want to consider, and they can all be played into it, but you've got to figure out what you want that to be and what you want it to look like. So, for example, one of the things that we were talking about yesterday was that just a minute, I'm pulling up my notes from yesterday. One of the things we were talking about was that we needed to have what our goals are to accomplish things. And my slides aren't working, so I'm not going to tell you about it. But go ahead.
You need to kind of identify whether it's a tactic or a strategy. And we've had a couple of people on recently that spoke about that, and I know it's a passion of yours. But, we have a campaign. Boyd and I both have a common client, and, they're anxious to run some Facebook ads. And the point is, we don't know what the ad should say. Are we trying to attract customers? Are we trying to get people to buy product? If they are just started a new Facebook page, is it too early? And Boyd, this is a question. Is it too early to start to sell? So, tell us what you think about that.
So here's a couple of things, with them. They have a bunch of customers, but they've lost their Facebook page to someone who took it over, and they can't get it back. And so what we're trying to do is start from scratch on their Facebook page. Now, here's the thing. They do have clients that are buying from them, but they have not really ever come up with a plan to keep them engaged. They don't even have their email information that is legitimately, these are who bought from us. And that's sad. We've worked with a couple of people like that, and we say, go pull out your things from the last 10 years and let's find out who they are. They don't know. And so that's something you got to do. You got to be able to know who your customers are and then decide, hey, do you want to keep those customers? Do you want to engage with them? Here's some of the other things. You can raise your awareness of your company by, having, that's one of the goals that you may have. Educate both customers and prospects. Now, how you do that can be different. For instance, a customer, they've already bought something from you. You can give them tips and tricks of how to use it better, how to use it differently, how to add on things. And then one of the other things is sometimes you do things that are similar in nature, but maybe you don't even carry the product, or you're just telling them. For example, I was talking to someone the other day, and they are they do a lot of things with taking care of your home. So they're like a handyman type person. Well, what they do is they also let people know, hey, did you know there's this technology? And they talk about the Internet of Things. And if you don't know what that is, you'll have to talk to us one-on-one, and we'll tell you more about that. But, you can actually have a device that monitors your door opener on your garage door, and you can monitor it from anywhere in the world as long as you have internet connection. You can also have it so your thermostat is set. You can do that with. There's all kinds of little toys and tools. And like I saw one the other day where it says, this refrigerator is set up to be connected to your phone. And I'm going, does it pop things out when you say, hey, I need a glass of ice water? I don't know. But, there's all kinds of things. And that's kind of the fun thing for the educating the customers. But how about the prospects? They haven't bought the product yet. Well, you want to have a good mix so you're not getting one or the other discouraged by what you're doing. So, and the last one is you've got to invite your customers to tell you how they can refer customers. What is it they would like you to put up so that they can send it to their friends?
That's absolutely instrumental. And I'm kind of referring back, of course, to social media. But what can you post that they're willing to share or that they want to share? And so the number of followers versus likes versus shares of any particular topic really affect how that ad shows or the frequency that ad shows. And it drives clients to your website. Of course, the website is the most important thing because we all know that that's where the true conversions happen. But
of course, if you build it, they'll come, right?
Well, drive them there with social media, and if we build it, then of course they'll get there. But that's really important. Point is to know what your clients want to share for you.
And then once they've got that, you've got to know where you want them to go. Now, there's a few clients that I have that, they have a brick and mortar business. Well, we send their business to there. But most people want it to go to their website. So if someone's looking at their social media and they say, ooh, I want more information, they'll go to your website rather than making a phone call at 11 o'clock at night or 5:30 in the morning. Who wants that kind of call? Yeah, well, okay, maybe if it's an emergency you do, and you're in that type of service. But, most of the people, they want to have it so that they can manage it during business hours. So you've got to think about all these things because that's all strategy. And most people don't think about it. They just say, I want more leads. Well, where do you want the leads to go? Well, to me. Okay, how?
Yeah, at midnight. Everybody wants the phone to ring at midnight. And I know that because I've been in that industry. I owned a hosting company, and we had a call chain, and I actually got a call about midnight one Christmas Eve because one of my clients in Europe, it was morning, of course, in Europe, but they had something that wasn't working on their site, and they called me, so I got the call. So think long-term. Think about a strategy. Think about how you want to converse with your clients. It's absolutely important.
And a great way of doing that is to really talk to your clients if you already have them. If you don't have clients, go to those that are your perfect prospects that you expect that they want to do business with you. And once you go to them, ask them what they're looking for. Where do they hang out online? That's a good one because then you'll know which social media platforms to actually be putting the information on. You also want to know from them, how will they want to consume the information you're going to give them? Do they like, and I'll give you an example, do they like long blogs that you put on a website, or would they rather mini blogs that you put on social media that then bring them to the website that'll talk more about it? So there's different ways of doing it, and you need to ask your customers about it. What is it they want to hear about, and what will make them want to be your customer?
That's a great point. And I can't emphasize enough that the communication, the way they want it, when they want, and the timing that they want it is going to be critical. There's other times of day that certain messages on certain social media platforms perform well. And I was completely surprised as I started to dabble in this a couple of years ago with Boyd's help, of course, that my messages would be consumed at a different time of day than I completely expected. I thought I knew my way around the internet pretty well, and I completely expected everybody to consume my message at 8:30 in the morning after they got to work. And lo and behold, we got a phenomenal number of opens and information coming back at about 6:30 in the morning, which completely surprised me. So timing of the message is almost as important as the message itself.
And again, this all leads to the strategy that we've talked a little bit about. If you can find out when your customers are interested in looking at that, it will help you. I know that general rule of thumb, here's what times are best, and you can see a chart about that. But sometimes it's just as they're getting home from work. Sometimes it's before work, as in the case of what Jim was just mentioning. But the key is find out when they are most interested in finding out more about it, what you're doing. That handyman I was telling you about, or it's not actually a handyman service, but it's similar to it. They put those out every evening at 6 o'clock, and they have a lot higher readership when they do. Where if they put it out at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, they were only getting some. But when they put it out at 6 o'clock at night, they get higher readership. And that's one of the things you have to know and test it. I have one client that what they do is they will actually put the same piece of content out 6 times during the day.
Mm-hmm.
Now, part of it is their number one clientele are found on Twitter. Twitter only has an 18-minute window. So they put something out at about 8 o'clock in the morning, about 10, about 11:30, and they have several times that they've tried this to see when is the best time. And one of the things they found was, on Twitter especially, having it multiple times in the day is a better way of doing it. Again, they figured out the strategy, and then the tactic was simply implementing it.
Boyd, I have a very similar story. It was with a deli in New York City, and they would mention the night before what kind of special they were going to have, let's say a pastrami sandwich the next day. And then when they got up in the morning, there would be another message in their inbox or a message on social media saying, we're having pastrami today. And then about 11 o'clock before lunchtime, Boyd's chasing a fly, I think. And then
it's a moth.
And then just before 11 o'clock, they would send everybody out a message one more time saying the pastrami is the special of the day. They found that they had about a 17% increase in traffic on days where they mentioned the particular sandwich. They tested it, both ways with no message. It was a flat lunch. 17% increase when they mentioned the sandwich by name, and an increase, of course, in those sandwiches that were ordered. So by all means, it's not just the time of the day, it's how many times you touch them and what the offer is.
But don't try to overdo it. That was one of the things that I had a bakery that was trying to overdo it, and I finally had to come in and say, look, you need to step this back. So they were doing kind of the sandwich of the day, but they also had all these other things that, the brownie list. They had the, there was cake pops, there was lemon bars, there were all kinds of donuts, and they were just overwhelming people. So they actually had to split it out and have people decide which ones they wanted. On the sandwich ones, they were doing kind of what Jim was saying, was they would put out a menu on Monday, and it would say, okay, on Monday we're going to have this, on Tuesday we're going to have this, on Wednesday we're going to have this, and it was specialty breads and the meat and everything. Well, it did well for the first few weeks, but then it faded away. What we did was we ended up doing it at about 10 o'clock in the morning. We'd say, hey, it's time for you to think about lunch, and we're going to be making the bread and we've got everything all ready to go. Here's the sandwich of the day. Well, at 10 o'clock, they started getting people ordering. At 11 o'clock, they put in and said, all right, we only have this many more to go. So if you want a lunch to pick up, you need to order now. Now, they had it so that they could take those orders right over over the phone and on their website. And they did. They would take it, and people would walk in a half hour later, and it was ready for them, or whatever time they told them it was would work. But when they just simply told them once a week, they also tried doing 3 times a day, and that overwhelmed them. Mm-hmm. Twice a day turned out to be the right amount for the sandwich of the day.
You know, I think that we both have some stories that are similar to this, but there's clients that have created a strategy to literally kind of make the client feel special, and then tell them that there's a limited amount of items that they're offering. You don't have to discount those offers. You can make them full price and actually make them a higher margin product if there's some exclusivity and your client's feeling special and he knows he's getting on this special deal. So by all means, go ahead, Boyd.
I was just going to say, now, if you are doing this on Facebook or any of those, if you're doing it by email, if you're doing it by text, there are programs that will actually, you can put countdown timers in them. And it really does help. Now, don't go too short a time. I get messages from these people say, oh, for a limited time, it's going to be this, and the price is going to raise if you don't get in on this special deal. You know what? I pay very little attention to that because the timer is at 4 minutes. And I'm going, if you're going to raise the price in 4 minutes, I don't know if I really want to do business with you. But, if you put in there that it's, this, you got to order by 11 o'clock. You got to get this by the end of the day. That's okay. And put the timer so it counts down for them. And it does make it so that they're wanting to get in before that timer runs out.
That's a great point. I know that you've got a bunch of stories from back when you owned the paper about having special bargains that were pushed out, and they actually had at least increased their price marginally and were more profitable, or they chose items that had greater margins to make the special.
Right.
And so you'd come in for razor or wiper blades, but get a oil change at the same time or something, however that worked.
Well, the way around, but yeah, that works. You come in for an oil change, you get a free set of wiper blades, is what they did, and we'll install them while we're doing your oil. And we've got this company that does that. They still offer it today, and it's been 10 years, and they have a regular clientele that every month they come, or every time it's needed for an oil change, they're coming in to this company, and it's because they offer that one little special thing that costs them about $4, a little less than $4 for a $12 to $15 wiper blade set. Yeah. And, they buy them in bulk, and, they get a whole bunch. And, one of the things, they know what they're going to need for the month. So they order them all at one time.
Yeah, that's a great point. Well, listen, everybody, it's exciting to think about a strategy versus a tactic. And we want to encourage you to do that. If you need help with either, you can talk to Boyd or I. You can track us down on entrepreneurfactory.com. Boyd is always available at bpmedia.com. That's Boyd at bpmedia. You can usually find me answering my emails at jim@e2-ts.com. And Boyd, what special what special nugget do you have for us today?
One of the things that I love is I was talking to someone earlier today, and as I was talking to them, they said it is not about selling a product. It's about selling an experience. That's what we are doing. When you're working with a customer, yes, if you're just in a retail situation and it's all just transactional, that's one thing. but really most of us are in the business of building relationships. And so it's the experience that makes it so that they'll want to come back over and over and over. Not the product as much as the experience.
That's absolutely true. Thank you, everyone, for attending today. And tell all your friends about us. We're Entrepreneur Factory podcast on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Mondays are all about sales and marketing. Wednesdays about taking your business to the next level. And Friday is all about entrepreneurship, from starting a business to getting it to the past the first level.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.